Vince McMahon holds the fate of the WWE Network in his hands in a fashion not too dissimilar to the manner he did WCW back in 2001. And that went well. There he was full of rhetoric regarding the Atlanta outfit and its potential value. Nearly 2 decades later, he could quite easily bin off a product he transformed his business model for just to watch the aftermath. He did it with human beings after all. Anyway, with that in mind, I'm Adam Wilborn from What Culture, and these are 10 clues that the WWE Network has been a major error. Number 10. They've stopped releasing subscriber figures. WWE used to be more than happy to report rising numbers of $9.99s landing in the coffers as the network appeared to go from strength to strength in early days. Just how quickly could they break 1 million punters on the surface? Maybe even 2 million. Netflix, as of recording, has 158.3 million subscribers. And if this is wrestling's Netflix, it won't be long until WWE is pocketing, leave this one with me, carry the 4, $1,578,420,000 a month. I think I got that right anyway. Stockholder reports have highlighted a downturn in numbers though, with that 2017 peak hovering around 2.1 million, now dipping to around 1.5 million in accordance with television ratings and house show attendances falling. WrestleMania 36 may temporarily and artificially spike the graphs, but we'll not hear about it unless the company are forced to out of law or necessity. This, for worse, has changed from whatever the glory days were. Number 9. They haven't been able to change the price yet. For as long as the WWE Network has been in existence, the price point has been a significant topic of discussion. Going forth with an all-too-familiar bludgeoning approach, the price was relentlessly plugged on TV until it was a t-shirt, a flag waving about Titan Tower, and yet another way of calling the audience stupid. Literally, Michael Cole and JBL and others were flabbergasted that some daft mugs, that's customers to you and me, would still pay the hefty going rate for a single show when they could have just had that and then some for a tenner. Various attempts to tweak the model have brought with them new discussion on price, but this will be a tricky thing to address in and of itself. Are the likes of Progress and ICW getting added to the service even a justifiable reason for a hike? Some discerning observers would argue the literal opposite. Number 8. They're considering selling back WrestleMania to television and or pay-per-view. This was always destined to pop back up, and equally just as likely to piss a lot of people off. Since Daniel Bryan's glorious night in New Orleans in 2014, if a fan has been able to access the WWE Network, they've been able to watch WrestleMania for the princely sum of 1 month's subscription. Or, and this has always been very damning, free if it's the 1 month a year they want to pay attention and can be bothered to set up a new email address. The show of shows is no smaller in stature or prestige and feels largely immovable as the industry's grandest stage, so the company could well get away with lifting it from the surface. But it becomes the first time in its 6-year history that a launch promise may well be broken for a fast track to cash. Fox could spend big on the year's largest event to have the television rights and could well promote the advertising space as Super Bowl adjacent. But how exactly would this go down with the hardcore subscriber base? WWE may well be gambling on them not giving a crap again. Number 7. The changing face of NXT. NXT's move to TV has been, for the most part, a quiet success story. The show may find itself beaten by AEW Dynamite virtually every week in the ratings battle, but the narrative almost always results in 2 sets of very satisfied wrestling fans debating which great show they preferred. And incidentally, ups and downs on both AEW and NXT, presented by Simon Miller and Adam Cleary respectively, are always out on Thursdays. Give us a subscribe, eh? This is all very fan-friendly in the face of exactly why it came to exist in the first place, but the black and gold brand permanently remains in battle with the main roster by virtue of its new home. Great angles threaten to be hijacked by other shows, wrestlers getting over may see them prematurely stolen for alternative use, whilst the 750,000-ish viewing figure keeps USA Network happy regardless. Its solid standing suggests it could have been there a long time ago, further undermining a former cult-like status as a network-only proposition. Number 6. The loss of the Sky Sports deal. WWE played it near the knuckle and very bloody cheeky when they launched the network within weeks of signing a new 5-year deal with Sky TV in 2014. The agreement saw WWE remain positioned on the United Kingdom's leading satellite broadcaster for Raw and SmackDown, but harpooned Sky's pay-per-view income in the process. The television company apparently weren't to know that nobody would want to spend 15 quid on a show as soon as the entire network was going to go for £5 less. After that, it was 3 decades of coverage forgotten in an instant, in order for McMahon to have his cake and eat it too. BT Sport were glad to take a major brand, but said major brand has had to absorb a substantial drop in audience as a result. The UK audience got a fantastic deal from the network in comparison to how things had been structured since they first started charging for shows in 1997, but the Sky deal was as good as dead the day it launched. Number 5. 6 years on, and they're still offering freebies. The model may be the industry standard for Netflix, Amazon Prime, et al., not him. But is that not a case of WWE comparing themselves to the wrong industry, as Vince McMahon always has? The monthly pay-per-view model used to exist as a way to generate significant revenue every 30 days or so. Now they run so WWE can always offer something for absolutely nothing. Often that something is the biggest show of the year, or succession of shows scheduled close together, or even both. The Big Four have recently featured a takeover on the same weekend for the network crowd, alongside Raws and SmackDowns for those making a WWE weekend of it in person. Would a thriving, booming enterprise still be trying to talk fans into a last-minute sub with, according to strategic measures, late card announcements, or kickoff show bangers? Number 4. Live attendances are still diminishing. The pictures of empty buildings trend on Twitter from the last few years was far from a modern phenomenon, but the alarming regularity and particular potency certainly was. SmackDown WWE Championship programs being performed to nobody in 2018 became a stomping grounds in 2019 that had to be shot as a 3-sided venue thanks to the almost total lack of punters on one side of the building. House shows are a regular pressing concern, with all sorts of changes and tweaks ongoing to try and stop the bleeding, but there's no more naked a reflection on fleeting interest than a noticeable lack of asses in seats. The WWE Network, a vehicle there to tease a tenner from pockets and enhance financial and emotional investment in the product, has triggered an upturn in these fortunes, but presided over an unsolvable problem. Number 3. Television rights are still high. It's remarkable and, to be fair, genuinely impressive just how many millions WWE have increased the value of both Raw and SmackDown in the years since the network launched. For all that folk may have access to more pro wrestling than ever before, thanks to the on-demand service, there are still apparently enough viewers for both Fox and USA to pay big for live content. Just how much of that did WWE leave on the table when they left pay-per-view behind? WWE's audience skews older than the coveted 18 to 40 demographic now, and perhaps have grown comfortable with the traditional way of watching wrestling. Or at least that's a more credible reason for relative security than the actual fucking storylines and characters. No wonder the company felt the need to be so abusive in instructing people to make the switch to the network for pay-per-views. It was probably better to shame them into the decision on a show they are conditioned to watch, rather than just letting them know all the cool features and savings. It could be argued that the output needed an overhaul long before the 2014 launch as a way of freshening up that which had grown stale. But was this more about actual content than delivery method? Number 2. Thirst for old content has been quenched. Is much of the collection going to waste? Dave Meltzer doesn't always rank the most watched bits and pieces of every single week, but some of his Wrestling Observer roundups has made for eye-opening reading. Have subscribers been so overwhelmed with so many Ric Flair classics that they'd rather watch him talk about them on Table for Three instead? Every tough-talking Texan from Dustin Rhodes to Steve Austin travelled up and down the roads for decades to assemble some of the magic lot within the WCW and WWE vaults. But bugger the old guys having matches if we can watch the new guys ride along to them, eh? WWE have provided something wonderful fundamentally, but if the interest is only passing, may they eventually have to tier access to it accordingly. Number 1. They don't know what they have until they get rid of it. Unfiltered, hidden gems, talking bloody smack. Oh, bless you, talking smack. That universe wasn't ever ready for all that you offered. These are just 3 of the well-liked projects the WWE Network dropped cold due to what presumably must have been low engagement figures. But the reaction from sizable portions of the Twitterati the WWE craves attention from suggested that all of the cuts were far too sharp. Renee Young, an irreplaceable gift to the company that they'll only truly know the extent of when she inevitably takes a much better job, and Daniel Bryan's panel show was funny and so full of life that injected every flatlining SmackDown talent with all that it had to spare. I mean, Unfiltered did a similar job, whilst Hidden Gems proffered the ethos that uncovered the lost Bret Hart-Tom McGee classic, and a series of sights and sounds a dark web of wrestling nerds, and I'm one of them, have craved for decades. I mean, for me, Razor Ramon in long tights was worth every bloody penny from that month's tenner. Bring back months like that, eh? And that's our list. Did we miss any out? Let us know in the comment section below. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And subscribe to What Culture Wrestling on either iTunes, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts from. Plus, you can check out some more recent videos here. Thanks for watching. I've been Adam from What Culture, and I'll see you soon.